Here is your fully rewritten version, using entirely new wording, while preserving every scene, action, emotion, and meaning. Nothing is skipped or shortened, only refined and made original and copyright-free. The night my life took a sharp turn. My wife Alina stood in the center of our living room carrying a confidence I had never witnessed before. It wasn't warmth or strength, it was icy, deliberate, almost triumphant. Her arms were folded tightly across her chest, her head tilted upward, and the way she looked at me made it clear she no longer saw me as her husband. I was simply something in her way. I had returned home earlier than usual, planning to surprise her with dinner. Instead, I walked into a tense scene, her phone clenched in her hand. Fingers flying across the screen, footsteps pacing back and forth. Her cheeks were flushed, her energy buzzing with anticipation. When I asked what was happening, she spun toward me wearing a crooked smile that still feels like a burn across my memory. Then she spoke the words that cracked our marriage straight, down the middle. "Mark," she said flatly, without emotion. "I'm meeting my ex tonight. You've got two options. You can sit there and watch me sleep with him, or you can stay out of my way while I do it anyway." My chest tightened. Time seemed to stall. For a brief second, I told myself it had to be a jokesome cruel attempt to get a rise out of me. But her tone carried no humor. There was no pause, no regret, no embarrassment. Only arrogance. Only cruelty. She explained that she needed closure, that unresolved feelings were eating at her, and that if I truly loved her, I would accept it. The room felt colder, heavier, as though the air itself was pressing against me. She watched closely, waiting for me to collapse, to shout, to plead, to lose control, anything that would confirm her power over me. I gave her nothing, I just looked at her. Really looked at the smug certainty in her posture, at the complete absence of respect in her eyes. And in that quiet moment, something inside me broke, cleanly and permanently. I understood then that I wasn't about to lose my wife. I was finally seeing the person who had never truly valued me. My silence annoyed her. She snapped, impatient now. "Well, what's it going to be, choice one or choice two?" She reminded me her ex was already on his way. She wanted a decision. She wanted a dominance. She believed my pride, my emotions, my life were hers to control. What she didn't realize was that I had already decided the instant those words left her mouth. I walked past her without raising my voice and headed into our bedroom. She followed, rolling her eyes, convinced I was about to fall apart or start packing my own things. Instead, I pulled out a suitcase, opened her side of the closet, and began folding her clothes. Not violently, not angrily, calmly, precisely, like someone clearing away the remains of a nightmare. That's when fear finally touched her face. "What are you doing?" she yelled. Without turning around, I answered, "I'm choosing a third option." She froze. "You can be with whoever you want," I continued, "just not as my wife. Start packing. You're leaving tonight." All the confidence drained from her. Instantly, her skin went pale. Her words stumbled over each other as she tried to undo what she'd said. "Ma, stop. You're taking this too far." She laughed weakly, claiming it was a joke, a test, that I was being dramatic. But the authority in her voice was gone. The game no longer favored her. Before she could say more, a knock echoed through the house. Her ex had arrived. The timing was cruelly perfect, like the universe insisting the truth be exposed in front of witnesses. Alina stood still, eyes locked on the door, then slowly turned toward me. She didn't speak, but her face begged me to save her. I didn't move. "You invited him," I said evenly. "Go ahead. Open the door." She cracked it open just enough for him to lean in, adrenaline smug, relaxed, wearing confidence like armor. "You ready?" he asked, then glanced past her at me, clearly expecting shouting or fists. Instead, he saw something that unsettled him, a man completely calm. "Inside," I told him. "You'll quickly see why she's packing." He chuckled nervously. "Hey man, take it easy. She just wants to talk." His smile vanished when I stepped closer. "Let me make this very clear," I said slowly. "If you step foot in my home again after tonight, even by accident, I will file a restraining order against both of you. I've documented everything. Messages, screenshots, dates, times." The color drained from his face. This wasn't the outcome he'd expected. He hadn't planned on consequences. Alina panicked. She grabbed his arm. "Stop. Just go. I'll call you later." He left quickly, glancing back once, as if waiting for me to explode. I didn't. I simply shut the door behind him. The click of the lock echoed louder than any argument could have. With him gone, Elena collapsed onto the couch. She begged, pleaded, swore she didn't want a divorce, claimed she was foolish, desperate, trying to make me jealous, trying to prove I cared. Tears streamed down her face. I felt nothing. No, I said calmly. You didn't try to make me jealous, you threatened. Betrayal. That's not insecurity. That's cruelty. She continued begging while I continued packing. Clothes, shoes, makeup, piece by piece, reality closed in on her. She blamed stress, alcohol, her friends, her past, everything except herself. But the truth sat heavy in the room. She wanted control, and in reaching for it, she lost everything. When the bags were finished, I set them by the front door. She stared at them like a final verdict. Where am I supposed to go? She whispered. Wherever your ex takes you, I replied. Or wherever people end up after they burn down their own home. She broke completely, sobbing as she dragged her luggage outside. Neighbors watched quietly from behind their windows. They didn't know the story, but they understood one thing. A line had been crossed that couldn't be undone. They saw me standing in the doorway, not furious, not shattered, just finished. That night changed my life. I learned that dignity isn't something you beg to keep. It's something you defend. She gave me two options meant to break me. I chose self-respect instead. And the moment she realized I wasn't the one losing anything, her world collapsed. Now she calls. Messages pile up. She begs to talk. I never respond. Because when someone offers you choices that destroy your soul, the only real decision is to walk away for good.